Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2004 in the Alabama Crimson Tide Dynasty mode. And we are here with the final game of our Year 13 season, and it is concluding in the Rose Bowl against the USC Trojans out of the Pac-10, royalty out of the Pac-10. Now, in preparation for this video, of course, I went and did some research on the Trojans, who we haven't really had a run-in with in this series, I don't think, up to this point. We might have played them once. I don't think so, though. I think this is our first meeting against the Trojans, and they have been really, really good throughout this entire series. So, if you look over their schedule, man, they really were on some a really great pace until, of course, they ran into two pretty high-powered teams here, but a huge victory, a statement victory in the rivalry against UCLA, no doubt, helped them win the Pac-10, even though I'm pretty sure they went perfect in conference play. I think their two losses are out of conference, so big season for the Trojans here, and heading into the series in the sim at the beginning, with the team, with all the named players and stuff like that, like Carson Palmer, you know what I mean, and Reggie Bush and all those guys, they were pretty good, but they just need to get over the hump. And then they won 3 straight conference titles in year 3, 4, and 5. And then they kind of were inconsistent from year 6 up to year 10, but they won 3 more conference titles in that time and have since, kind of struggled to win the Pac-10 since year 10. But they've been ranked in all but 1 or 2 seasons in this entire thing. So they consistently lose about 4 or 5 games a year. They've only had a handful where they've only lost 1 or 2 games and have actually been real contenders. But they always seem to find themselves back in Pasadena playing for the Rose Bowl, which is exactly where we are today, playing for our 3rd Rose Bowl. I think it's our 3rd. Not a BCS title, just a Rose Bowl. So hopefully we can grab another big New Year's Bowl victory and add it to the trophy case. If we can't get another national title shot here, given our weird turbulent season, losing to TCU and having to beat Tennessee twice to win at the conference. So it's a big season regardless, and USC already off to a pretty great start here. Now, both quarterbacks in this game have had eerily similar seasons. Now, it's kind of disappointing when you realize that USC starting quarterback Cody Gutierrez, who's dropping back to pass now, and finds a wide open target open at about the 10-yard line. But it's a little unsettling here when you realize that Mr. Gutierrez is an 81 overall, and then, of course, our starter Khaled Lumpkin is an 89 overall, and they've both had very, very eerily similar seasons. But we've had some quarterback drama here in Tuscaloosa trying to figure out who our full-time starter was this year. We eventually went with Lumpkin here, giving a few games to Dre Gates, but we're not sure what the future holds for Dre Gates here, but hopefully Lumpkin can lead the charge here in the Rose Bowl and pick up a big bowl victory. That would be a major statement on his early college career. If we could get Lumpkin that Rose Bowl victory, would certainly make things interesting as we enter into the offseason and have that quarterback conversation once again, probably in the next video. But USC already taken an early lead in the Rose Bowl, so now Lumpkin going to have to show his chops here in leadership and move this offense down the field, and already finds Cliff Herman along the sidelines for a huge gain, already up at midfield, but now it puts us into Trojan territory. But 3rd and 14, USC's defense is pushing us back a little bit, and Lumpkin back to pass in a clean pocket, and wide open in the corner of the end zone is Chip Milligan, one of the very shocking standouts on this offense so far this season. I wouldn't say it's completely shocking because, we don't have terrible receivers, or we don't recruit terrible receivers, but obviously I think they're good, probably a year or so away from being really at their full max potential. So Milligan putting up 6 touchdowns this season is certainly a big thing for him, over 500 yards, so we will happily take that. And now Gutierrez heading the other way finds Wagner, another top defensive producer, getting his 6th interception of the season thanks to an errant throw from Mr. Gutierrez. But that is how the first quarter is going to end, and we are locked up at 7 apiece here in the Rose Bowl. So hopefully we might have ourselves an all-time classic here in Pasadena. Who knows? But 1st and 10 now, heading the other way, already in USC territory, and Lumpkin able to find Herman across the middle, who's going to fall forward right at the line to gain. I think with his little celebration, I think that's going to indicate that we get a fresh set of downs here, but that was definitely a close call, certainly a close call. So 2nd and 8 now, Lumpkin back to pass here, looking over his options again, and again, it looks like he finds Herman, I think it's Herman again, in the middle of the field for another completion, and it is. So already Cliff Herman is contributing quite a bit here early on. So fast forward to a 2nd and 9, and now Lumpkin going to run the option here, and he's going to keep it himself and get in the end zone for a touchdown. So I want to say that there were 2 running quarterbacks. Dre Gates obviously has a good running stat. I think he's got 78 speed. So that is certainly a tool that he has. And I want to say between either Ernest Slaughter or Cal Lumpkin, one of them also had like 78 speed. I can't remember who it was. It could have been Cal Lumpkin, but I don't know. But either way, we get a rushing touchdown from the quarterback, and we will happily take that. So 14-7 is now the score, but the Trojans are converting here on third down, on late downs here, and are able to continue their drive into Tuscaloosa, into Alabama territory. So now from our R30 here, Gutierrez back to pass here, and he finds an open target across the middle. I don't even know if you want to say he was open, because that was actually kind of a contested kind of route here, or kind of a contested ball. Had to fit that in a window, Gutierrez did, and it was a good pass. And Brian Newton, his top receiver, was able to haul that in for a first down. So fast forward to 2nd and 6, Gutierrez back to pass again in a wide open, man, completely wide open. It looked like Ron Paul, who's about the third or so receiver listed on this depth chart. He is completely wide open, left on an island. I don't know who on earth was supposed to take care of that. Looks like Gutierrez just found the hole in the zone. We weren't playing anybody shallow on that side, so just found that hole and completely went for it. And now USC has tied the game up at 14 apiece with just 1 minute left in the first half. There was still plenty of time on a 3rd and 8. Cal Lumpkin finds Chip Milligan for another first down, but it's already 3rd and 10 again. So USC's defense, we are struggling to move it on them on 1st and 2nd down, and that ball might have been tipped. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it falls into the hands of Cliff Herman, and we're going to get another look at it. It looks like it may have been tipped and caught. We've seen a couple of those in the last couple of weeks, and yeah, that one looks like it maybe even just went through the hands of a USC defender. Maybe if you had both hands up, we could have seen a pick, but it was just a batted ball that ends up in the hands of Cliff Herman. So we take a late lead here in the first half, 21-14, but it is back and forth right now here in Pasadena, so no lead is sacred here as Lumpkin back to pass here, fires one downfield, and that pass again contested, but it is going to be caught, and it looks like it was Clifford Jones, the tight end, I think, who hauled that one in, and it was. So big play by the tight end here to get us deep in Trojan territory. So 2nd and 5 now. Lumpkin back to pass once again, dumps it off quickly here in the flat, and it looks like Cliff Herman once again was just sitting for a little receiver screen, and he's going to make the catch, and not only make the catch, but extend the play to a first down. So that'll give us a fresh set of downs here. So 1st and 10 now. Lumpkin going to throw for it once again here, has men in front of him, and he finds an open target. And I think it's one of the younger receivers on the roster here. I believe it's Evan Jacobs. Yeah, it's Evan Jacobs. That's who it is. Evan Jacobs. I forgot it was 83 on the team. We haven't seen Evan Jacobs much at all in the latter half of the season, so I forgot that he was around. But on 3rd and goal, we're going to get to another new receiver, and it's Lou Newson, who's going to get a catch in his great breakout season as well. So Newson and Milligan have really been just great contributors, and given how low overall-wise our receiving core is, that is a very important thing to see those contributors. So 28-14 is now the score. And now on a punt return, Wagner with a huge stunner step here, and he is out in open space along the sideline. He's going to get tracked down here, but a huge play with his feet is able to get him into open space here, and a humongous punt return. So that's going to set us up with great field position here to further extend our lead over the Trojans. So Lumpkin back to pass now, and that ball is tipped around, but it's going to be caught again. These batted balls going around now. I remember in NCAA 04, and like once you get to 05 and really in 06, that starts to happen all the time. I don't know why the CPU just starts doing the whole tip pass interception thing. It happens a ton in NCAA 06, but it does happen in this game a little bit too, and in 05 as well. But we're seeing a little bit that here in this game as well. But thanks to that tipped pass caught by Herman on the very next play, or a couple plays later, Lumpkin is able to find Herman in the end zone for another Alabama touchdown, and now things have completely blown wide open for the Trojans here into this game here. They have a long way to haul themselves out, and Gutierrez now with a huge play, is able to get, or at least find an open target. Hopefully we'll get another look at it, maybe get a better shot at exactly who it was on this Trojan receiving core, and that is going to be Lane Kincaid, one of the only returning contributors in this receiving core. He obviously was a huge starter last year with over 800 yards, and I think 9 touchdowns just about, but this year he's had a little bit of a further down year, over 1,000 yards still, but only 4 touchdowns, so not the same kind of contribution that the Trojans were probably looking for, but still a good season from him nonetheless. And now on 3rd down, under some pressure here, and Gutierrez running for his life, and he's going to get caught anyway by our huge defensive line, and that is going to be a big sack courtesy of John Costa, one of our great defensive tackles that we have here in Alabama. So, but either way, it's still going to end up in a fresh set of downs here as Gutierrez is able to extend the drive here for the Trojans. and keep things alive. So as we fast forward later on here in the game, with just a minute and a half left to go, and Gutierrez is able to get another open target into the end zone. And now, ladies and germs, just like that, the lead is decimated, and we are back to just one possession separating us and the Trojans. So that was Brian Newton once again, who's had a good season for the Trojans, and has had a good game, honestly. But on the onside kick, we were able to recover it, and with just a minute and 21 left to go in the game, that should just about do it for the Trojans. They led a very valiant effort here towards the end of the game, coming down from a huge stop that we had on defense, coming back and able to put a drive together to at least get them within one score, but they couldn't get the ball back within that last minute and a half, minute and change, to make this one really kind of scary for Sicknaven. But still a big comeback here in the Rose Bowl, but we're fine here. We'll take it, I think, with the season that we had here. Still coming back and salvaging that loss that we had at TCU on the road. Still managing to put together a 13-1 season and pick up a huge bowl win in the Rose Bowl. Add another Rose Bowl trophy to the case, as that trophy case is just getting larger and larger, getting more and more stuffed up with just all this nonsense that we have. We're going to need more storage. I said it in the last video thing. We're going to need more storage. So just here's a breakdown of our stats now. Nothing really huge to report. We didn't turn the ball over, which is nice, which is another reason why we went with Khaled Lumpkin for the rest of the season here, is because he has not been a huge turnover person. And even if he had one interception, you see this contribution here, 80% completion percentage and 4 touchdowns. You'll take that. You'll happily take that. You'll most certainly take that over the production of Dre Gates, which for sure would have been maybe like 3 touchdowns to 2 picks, or 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. You know what I mean? Like, he's a turnover machine. So that's why we had to make the choice, and maybe we'll see something different next season. Who knows? But there is our bowl victory here, another Rose Bowl trophy. I love how they have them in the game. It's just a thing to note. And you guys have been telling me about like taking other coaching jobs, but again, this is just going to run towards the end of Nick Saban's real life career at Alabama. So Sicknaven's got a few more seasons. Notre Dame wants to try and take us for the last of those. Absolutely not. We're not going to do that. We're going to stick here and finish the job that we started, and then of course we'll move to something else. But don't worry, I'm going to be doing like a Coach Dynasty type of series next to satisfy all of your guys' urges to see us go from school to school, because it'll be a ton of fun. But that is a little bit later on here. We still have a couple more seasons left, or a few, I think. We're going to get in year 14, then we have 15, 16, and 17, and that will be the end of the Bama series. I'm hoping it'll finish by at least the start of the NFL season, or at least, like first couple weeks. So hope to see you guys in the offseason.